Hello everyone and welcome to day 14 of Lock-In, the biggest VCT event ever. Today, it's the Omega Bracket Final as best of 5 between Na'Vi and Fnatic. I'm Dash, happy to be joined again by Mimi and Achilleos, and today we're bringing Hypoc onto the desk to help us break it all down, give us a little bit of EMEA representation in our EMEA grudge match. My friend, it's good to have you.
EMEA man.
Exactly.
What a time to do it.
Look, I would have it no other way.
It's like playing a unicorn in the wild,
Yeah.
getting Hypoc on a desk.
I
It's
love
not
it.
something that happens very
I
often.
got plenty of thoughts from them on how yesterday's 5-game series broke down, but before we jump into today's matchup, I just wanted to get your thoughts. After it started 2-0 in favor of Loud, almost got ran back the other way, just kind of your takeaways from yesterday.
I mean, I think I speak for everybody when I say thank God. that's the one to get out of the way first, but I mean, what an exciting game. We saw all 5. In my eyes, a little bit of the fake comeback. It fizzled out a little bit at the end for DRX, but a banging series nonetheless.
Yeah, well, yesterday we did see Loud. They went the distance and took down DRX in 5 maps, become the kings of the Alpha bracket. They'll face the winner of today's Omega bracket showdown between Na'Vi and Fnatic. Let's go ahead and take a look back at these matches for these two teams, see how we got here.
Yeah, it may have been a bit of a fake comeback, but that is classic DRX, right? They can get to this point. Same deal as at Champions, where they look like they're going to rally back at the 05, make the reverse sweep happen, and then it falls flat in the last second. Still, it was an impressive game, and it's now we kind of look back towards the two teams that we get to see today. They've also had exciting runs. Neither of these squads that are matching up for a chance to the grand finals have lost a map yet.
Yeah, it's been really clean runs from both of these squads. I mean, both of them looking like absolute powerhouses. So when they do collide here today, I think it could lead to yet another 5-map series.
I think the only anomaly that sticks out here is actually that 100 Thieves game versus Fnatic on Icebox. That's the only real thing that sticks out. When you look at the numbers here, the round differential and the overall performances, that's the one that sticks out.
Yeah, and it sets us up for such a fantastic matchup here between Fnatic and Na'Vi. Such a defining match of last year for EMEA. I mean, how many times have you seen this one, Mike?
I mean, the 2022, I think, head-to-head record sits at like 4-2. Obviously, there's a little different context in some of the matchups we saw. Obviously, elimination from Copenhagen is the one that kind of sticks in everyone's mind, but this is definitely kind of El Clasico V2, basically, of EMEA.
Yeah, 2-0s all the way through for each of these squads. It means they've actually played very few rounds as compared to the teams on the other side of the bracket that they're looking to go up against tomorrow in the grand final. That, of course, does bring us to today, though. And it is no secret that Boaster, Durka, and the whole of Fnatic wants to lift a trophy. They find themselves in a position to once again achieve that dream. But the road has been long and difficult. Now, their journey started all the way back in 2021, where they came one step away from their ultimate goal, but it ended in tragedy as Fnatic fell to Sentinels in the Masters Reykjavik Grand Finals. Their troubles didn't stop there, unfortunately. They were struck down by Crew at Champions 2021 and cast asunder by Zeta Division in a return to Denmark. And
Evento de Valorant aqui no Brasil tem que ter mais vezes com essa galera incrível. A torcida é sensacional. BR faz festa como nenhum outro.
Na semifinal 2, eu acho que a Na'Vi vai ganhar. Eu queria torcer pra Fnatic, por causa do meu irmão careca, Durka, mas a semifinal vai ser Loud e Na'Vi.
Acho que pra mim quem vai ganhar o jogo amanhã vai ser a Fnatic. Eu acho que vai ser 3-1. Por quê? Porque os caras vieram fortes pro campeonato, botaram 100 Deus pra casa e eu acho que os caras vão querer enfrentar os Brazuca na final. Com o Loud. Eu acho que quem vai ganhar é a Fnatic por causa dele.
Na'Vi. They're just a better structured team. They're FPX pretty much. They have CNET, which is crazy.
I have Na'Vi winning a tower. I think in those BO5s, those really long games, the map doesn't matter that much. It's more kind of the team's individual strength and talent. And I think Na'Vi just have a little edge on that.
Amanhã quem ganha é a Na'Vi. Não tem jeito. Estão muito fortes. A Na'Vi ganha com certeza.
we started with 32 teams, and after today, we will be down to only 2. Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 14 of Lock-In, the biggest VCT event ever. Today, it's the Omega Bracket Final as best of 5 between Na'Vi and Fnatic. I'm Dash, happy to be joined again by Mimi and Achilleos, and today we're bringing Hypoc onto the desk to help us break it all down, give us a little bit of EMEA representation in our EMEA grudge match. My friend, it's good to have you.
EMEA man.
Exactly.
What a time to do it as
Look,
well.
I would have it no other way.
It's like playing a unicorn in the wild,
Yeah.
getting Hypoc on a desk.
I
It's
love
not
it.
something that happens very
I
often.
got plenty of thoughts from them on how yesterday's 5-game series broke down, but before we jump into today's matchup, I just wanted to get your thoughts. After it started 2-0 in favor of Loud, almost got ran back the other way, just kind of your takeaways from yesterday.
I mean, I think I speak for everybody when I say thank God. that's the one to get out of the way first, but I mean, what an exciting game. We saw all 5. In my eyes, a little bit of the fake comeback. It fizzled out a little bit at the end for DRX, but a banging series nonetheless.
Yeah, well, yesterday we did see Loud. They went the distance and took down DRX in 5 maps to become the kings of the Alpha bracket. They'll face the winner of today's Omega bracket showdown between Navi and Fnatic. Let's go ahead and take a look back at these matches for these two teams, see how we got here.
Yeah, it may have been a bit of a fake comeback, but that is classic DRX, right? They can get to this point. Same deal as at Champions, where they look like they're going to rally back at the 05, make the reverse sweep happen, and then it falls flat in the last second. Still, it was an impressive game, and it's now we kind of look back towards the two teams that we get to see today.
They've also had exciting runs. Neither of these squads that are matching up for a chance in the grand finals have lost a map yet.
Yeah, it's been really clean runs from both of these squads. I mean, both of them looking like absolute powerhouses. So when they do collide here today, I think it could lead to yet another 5-map series.
I think the only anomaly that sticks out here is actually that 100 Thieves game versus Fnatic on Icebox. That's the only real thing that sticks out. When you look at the numbers here, the round differential and the overall performances, that's the one that sticks out.
Yeah, and it sets us up for such a fantastic matchup here between Fnatic and Navi. Such a defining match of last year for EMEA. I mean, how many times have you seen this one, Mike?
I mean, the 2022, I think, head-to-head record sits at like 4-2. Obviously, there's a little different context in some of the matchups we saw. Obviously, elimination from Copenhagen is the one that kind of sticks in everyone's mind, but this is definitely kind of El Clasico V2, basically, of EMEA.
Yeah, 2-0s all the way through for each of these squads. It means they've actually played very few rounds as compared to the teams on the other side of the bracket that they're looking to go up against tomorrow in the grand final. That, of course, does bring us to today, though. And it is no secret that Boaster, Durka, and the whole of Fnatic wants to lift a trophy. They find themselves in a position to once again achieve that dream. But the road has been long and difficult. Now, their journey started all the way back in 2021, where they came one step away from their ultimate goal, but it ended in tragedy as Fnatic fell to Sentinels in the Masters Reykjavik Grand Finals. Their troubles didn't stop there, unfortunately. They were struck down by Crew at Champions 2021 and cast asunder by Zeta Division in a return to Denmark. And while they still held hope, they were crushed by the mighty FPX and DRX at the end of 2022. But here in the year of 2023, the opportunity to right the wrongs of the past and attain the trophy that has long eluded them is squarely within their sights. Now, to help them achieve that goal, I have gathered some of the brightest minds that the Valorant scene has to offer in order to provide guidance and wisdom to aid Fnatic in their journey. Achilleos, I'm turning to you first, my friend. In that path towards glory, what does Fnatic need to do to get through today?
Win the series.
Helpful.
That's a good start. That's a guy. I like that.
Loose,
Let's make that the headline of that. That's the header of the outline. Can I get bullet point number 1, maybe?
Okay, all right. Big thing that you need to do, control Shao. This is great.
Oh my God, I love this
the
so
slain
much.
foes, shields resting on the ground as Boaster leads them to into battle. But yeah, Shao, take this guy down. He's been nigh unkillable so far in this tournament. Now holds, I think, the highest clutch percentage that we still have remaining in the event. And he has just been an absolute demon in the lobby. You need to be able to deal with this guy. And one of the people that's going to be able to do that is Durka. So that's going to be a lot. Don't give me that look. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Durka to be able to be the one to take him down.
All right, so we got bullet point number 1, but Mimi, I know it can't be a single point plan here to taking down Navi. So what do you have to add on to the game plan here for Fnatic to get through today?
Yeah, I think it's going to take something more because this team really does look like they have an opportunity to win this one. I think that Fnatic is in a position where they are looking better than ever. But we've always said that every time. That is what Fnatic's storyline has been. And they've always fallen flat at the last moment, a match or two away from the grand finals. Their mental is caught enough to them. They've played a close series, and it's felt like they've kind of choked things away. The fraud Fnatic storyline always keeps coming back, and today they have to keep their mental focused. Are you?
Hypoc,
your mental okay?
yeah, Hypoc, you look unconvinced.
I mean, I'm not sold. I'm willing to sit here and say the number of times we have been at, I've been the one to say, come out regionally, Fnatic are the best team in the world, right? We get to international events,
Clip it. Fnatic's the best team in the world.
They are
Put it out there.
plagued by curses and problems along the way. There's always something. There has to be. And the problem being today, they face off against Na'Vi. That's the OG super team. We're talking about Fnatic being EMEA super team.
This
Na'Vi,
is a test message
FPX,
with air
they've always
conditioning
been the
in
ones that,
background.
even for a long
Normally,
time,
it'd be
how many
difficult
times
to
we talk
carry a
about the
conversation with
momentum
someone
building
as a
for
result of this
FPX to win a title? Yes, we saw it. They were always the ones that actually come to international events were the dark horses to close out.
I was about to ask who hurt you, but I know who
Yeah,
hurt you.
Fnatic, man!
This message was difficult to understand.
It has been ups and downs for this squad. Oh, so close so many times, and you gotta wonder at a certain point when how that like digs into your own psyche, right? That you start to just mind game yourself out of the opportunity.
Don't get me wrong, I'm here for it, right? I'm absolutely keeping open
You're
minded with
contractually
this,
obligated to be here
just
for it. I understand.
Exactly. In the back of my mind, I just have all those conversations we've had where we've had to pivot away from talking about Fnatic lifting an international title.
Yeah, it just feels like there's some kind of block for this team, maybe this is the event to make through. I want to believe again. I haven't been burned by them quite as many times as you have, Mike, and I want to put some faith that this is the roster that can do it, because I think they look absolutely fantastic with their additions in the offseason. I think they match Na'Vi as a super team, but there's still always that factor of this is the point where they always fall flat.
All right, we've laid it out. A couple key factors that we think Fnatic is going to have to achieve if they want to take this series, but we want to know how you think that this story will end in today's Twitter poll. Tell us if you think Fnatic's quest will be successful to make it to the grand finals and ultimately hoist that trophy. Make sure to use the hashtags VCTLockin and VCT so we can feature your tweets on the broadcast a little bit later. I mean, I already know where this guy sits. So it's not hard for me to know what he would be tweeting out when it comes to that. And we'll get to your guys' predictions a little bit later on. I'll let the community at home start to flood the airwaves with their thoughts as we go to a quick break. And then we'll come back. We'll have a deep dive on both of these squads. We'll see you back here in just a bit. Welcome back to Lock In our best of 5 Omega bracket final. Well, these are two EMEA teams that have plenty of history between them. It's a rivalry through and through at this point. I think we can call it that. So let's talk about it. It's Na'Vi, formerly of FPX, that last time around got the upper hand. Yeah, it was. And I think the thing to keep in our minds here is FPX historically, they did stumble regionally, right? And it was Fnatic that capitalized on that. Time and time again when we were having this head-to-head discussion, Fnatic came out on top. Like I said, that 2022 record for the head-to-head, 4-2, obviously taking into account FPX's
Copenhagen initial issues, but then the elimination there on the international stage.
Sure, but at the moments that it mattered, Na'Vi back then FPX were able to get a trophy. Fnatic is yet to do that. But headed into this year, both these teams have made changes, and I think both of them could be considered a super team. They both have incredibly deep pools of talent from that EMEA region. For Fnatic, just making that kind of upgrade of 2 new players in the supportive role, and for Na'Vi, just subbing in CNED, a guy who we know is a star. And I think in this matchup, it'll prove who really is that EMEA super team, who won the offseason in this region.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, both teams adding an immense amount of power here. Leo in particular has been looking fantastic for the side of Fnatic, but it really just comes down to, you know, who's going to be walking away victorious at the end of this all. That is going to be the EMEA super team. That is going to be the team starting the right foot forward as we get ready to go into the proper VCT leagues.
Well, let's see if we can even answer that question by working through some of the individual matchups that we're going to see out on the stage today. I think it's natural that we start with the IGLs, 2 of the best in the game in the region. It's Angel on one side, it's Boaster on the other.
Yeah, I think the style of these two, there's a lot of similarity, right? They're both some of the top EMEA teams. They both come in and kind of are able to cook up these new cool ideas. But for Fnatic, I think what has impressed me most in this one is the coordination with bringing these 2 new players in right before the start of the season, integrating them very well, and also having some great game plans to boot. Their game versus 100 Thieves, for example. Well, the Icebox was a little shaky. The way they played that Fracture was fantastic, putting an emphasis on farming up these orbs and having really great set plays with their ultimates.
And the big key for me is actually we've seen an example here in Sao Paulo of Fnatic straying away from that kind of choreography, the set pieces and stuff. And I come back to that double duelist competition on Split. It's all focused around Durka, minimal utility. It's just cut and dry vanilla Valorant. And that's something that actually you come against Na'Vi. They got that slow burn style. They have those rock solid backline players that, you know, if CNED can't find those entries, you have players like Xiao and Zipan who, again, have had lights out performances. And then somebody that we only seem to talk about in highlight reels, but Sugetsu. Sugetsu time and time again bails Na'Vi out of rounds. Like, this back line of Na'Vi will be so problematic if Durka's not on form, if Leo's not clutch, if all these other win conditions Fnatic aren't online today.
This is one of your win conditions right here. Xiao popping off early, but the attacking rounds for Na'Vi here in this Leviathan series, Seth, they just popped off.
Yeah, and it was a bit, you know, interesting to see the swap up here. Angel stepping away from playing that smoker role, which is what we've widely seen him on, goes over to the Cypher, and the control from Na'Vi going through that map was just absolutely gorgeous. Angel himself, I mean, we're talking about these IGLs. He's had a bit of a renaissance performance here at this event. Just crushing people in the lobby where normally he's the one who's dead on the floor, calling from beyond the grave as far as the shot calling is concerned. But he is actually just kind of leading the charge here, much like we had Boaster in that graphic. You could do the same for Angel on the opposite side of the field.
Yeah, he's got his sword up in the air and is very much leading from the front in this one. But I think that Na'Vi this time has done a better job of harnessing that style, of being able to pretty much perma-put Angel on that Omen roll, teleporting in, taking space for this team, and then making really intelligent calls off of them. I think with the amount of just quality players you have on this roster as well, they're always able to kind of make up and find that decision in the mid-round off of Angel getting that initial information, which has been a big strength for them. They don't always have to rely on those preset new ideas. They're very much nebulous in what they do.
A lot of pressure in the matchup between the 2 shot callers, but for a closer look at how Na'Vi wins rounds, let's listen in on their comms during a defensive round against Leviathan in this in-zone open mic.
Beautiful, I can dog, you can kill our bot. Dude. They're in.
No, I'm in. I'm not sure if he knows about it or not.
Watch out, alarm bot.
I will spam right side, just pick.
Go.
Tomo cop. Está en uno, está en uno. Murió la pipa, está en uno el Omen, está en uno el Omen. El Omen está en uno, le pegué 100.
¿Le pasamos?
Está en uno. Nice. Cuidado el baiteo.
Cuesta baiteo uno close. No creo mi flecha, 5 flechas, chicos. Seguimos info, el último.
Falta la fake, falta la fake, chicos.
Todo up out.
A flash inside. Yo he vuelto. A flashing one more side.
I have camera, wait a bit.
We have molly as well.
Wait for plant.
Okay.
Hold with me.
Upper.
Pick with me, Sean.
Go. Biting.
You jump.
10 seconds till I.
I'm marking. Take.
Not planting. I have eye.
Eye, throw.
Wait.
Mira pasillo.
Default on green box.
No, you're insane, bro. Bro.
This was very good, bro.
Top level communication, but it's also helpful when one guy just hits like 5 headshots in a row and aces the entire score.
This is the thing. This is the thing, right? You think back to like when they had Artists, it was very rare that they would double down on these opening engagements. When you have this backline, send Angel forward, send CNED forward. If they get a kill, cool. That's a 3v5. Xiao is just digs his heels in and just completely bails them out. That's always a possibility in some of these rounds for Na'Vi.
So Xiao was obviously the clutch player over there on Na'Vi. We also have one that we have to recognize on the side of Fnatic. It's Leo.
Yeah, absolutely. Leo, we have been waiting for this guy to show us everything he can do. A very long-awaited guy to perform on an absolute top team in EMEA. And he's been popping off thus far this tournament. For the side of Fnatic, he is that clutch guy. He has been able to come out in these late-round situations and win things out for them. Well, he hasn't had a huge amount of opportunities to compared to what Xiao has been able to do. It is that late round pressure. Even if it isn't that 1vx clutch situation, it's the solid decision making in the late rounds that I think gives strength to both of these players.
Yeah, I mean, they've just been absolutely incredible to watch, and now being able to have them score off against one another and really just prove who's going to be the, the superior player in that regard, I guess, is going to be really interesting to see who comes out on top. Because, like Hybok's saying, you can never really count Xiao out of these rounds, but the same could be said from what we've seen for Leo so far on Fnatic.
I think actually, Leo stands as almost the raid boss. Like, he has no first deaths. This event so far. He hasn't died first in a single round for Fnatic, which is crazy. If he's still alive, his utility usage, his supportive play is always going to be a factor for that mid-round for Fnatic.
I mean, so either squad is going to be confident they end up in a clutch situation with either of those two players alive. But Hypok, there's also the question of whether or not you're going to end up in too many clutch situations when you've got the kind of firepower that each of these squads have in CNED and Durka.
Yeah, this is such an exciting head-to-head to look at, especially with how Durka's been playing so far. CNED, I'd say until we see that kind of consistency establish itself, is a guy who went through a turbulent journey post the Champions win back in 2021, but so far so good for me. CNED looks as if he's willing to be in a position where he's supported. He has that faith in the rest of his teammates to go forward and find kills.
Yeah, and the support for both of these players has been excellent, but I think what has been the most impressive for me is the way that Chronicle and Leo have put so much emphasis on allowing Durka to thrive. It feels like this guy, he's always been a world-class player, but he's been waiting for that world-class support.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I love the chamber meta too at times, Achilleos, but getting back to Jets with these two players on the main stage, that feels right.
No, it does, and it's going to be a fantastic clash, but it does kind of give me a reason to have some concern about Na'Vi in the long term, because we do need to see some more flexibility when it comes down to what CNED can play. For now, I think that they're perfectly safe. He looks great on the Jet. He looks great with that AWP in his hands, but as we move on, as the meta evolves, I will still be curious to see if Na'Vi can continue to mold him into a stronger player.
Just quickly on that, I think in terms of future-proofing, Durka has already demonstrated his willingness to go aggressive with rifles, and Fnatic building rounds literally around that entire ethos, which is Durka, regardless of the weapon, we're still willing to take that space away and be proactive.
You also see that in the roles. It feels like Durka's been a lot more willing to play the Raze, to swap things up on occasion, whereas for CNED, he is still very much, we're going to put him on Jet whenever we can.
If I'm going to be honest, if I had to pigeonhole a role that is most required to have confidence in, it's got to be the duelist, right? If you're going to be taking those initial fights, you want to see each of these players stepping onto the stage, knowing that their whole team is behind them in whatever fights they decide to take.
Absolutely, and I'll probably follow up and say that's probably Jet within the duelist pool. That it's Jet that requires that.
All right, well, both of these players have it. Now, we've also had a lot of Valorant this month, but for those of you that don't know, Game Changers supplements the competitive season by creating new opportunities and exposure for women and marginalized genders within Valorant esports. It's an incredible stepping stone for these players to move on to the international stage. We produced a documentary on the Game Changers World Championship in Berlin last year, and it's premiering in just a few weeks. But here's a sneak peek.
8 teams land in Berlin for the first ever Game Changers World Championship.
They have dominated their region domestically.
Doesn't really matter if you're the best in the region.
Come on, guys, focus up! What the f are you doing?
Having the first international LAN is going to be very pivotal. We're making history.
How are you doing this to them?
You're amazing. You're amazing. You're good. You're insane. You're insane. In the head. True.
When does this premiere? You're amazing. I want to see that. You're amazing.
You're amazing.
I love that so much. Oh my goodness. What a great spotlight. I'm sure that the documentary will deliver on every level, as the Game Changers tournament has delivered on every level as we've seen it in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Had the privilege of working that event. I think it surpassed all expectations. It was a fantastic display. I think OG just has good things to show for the future of that scene.
And the personalities in that scene are just so good.
Yeah.
You got a little taste of it in that video, but those players were popping off. Very fun.
Fire in that preview right there. Now, earlier in the show, we took a Twitter poll asking you if Fnatic will be successful in their trophy quest. The results are in. Let's get the reveal. And the answer is pretty definitively yes. 61.8% of Twitter users say they will be successful in their quest. Hypoc doubters be damned.
Yeah, I haven't got much to say to that. Obviously, EMEA is woken up. This is us huffing as we usually do, but just bear in mind this is EMEA versus EMEA. That's all I got to say. Anything is possible when these two, and we've seen it historically. Anything is possible in this matchup.
60-40 feels like a reasonable amount of Fnatic copium to huff for me. That feels like just the right amount.
I feel like that's a significant lack in faith in Na'Vi and what they've been able to pull off with this roster.
What games have they been watching?
In. I mean, they look incredible. If this was a 50-50, I'd be like, okay, I can understand it. But that much of a delta between the two teams, that's actually surprising to me.
All right, so this exact conversation that's happening right now is why I want to throw to a 2-minute break. See if the Twitter users have swayed my analysts in any way, shape, or form. When we come back, we'll dive into our predictions, and then we'll get onto that stage, and we'll watch these teams do battle. See you here in just a bit.
We are currently top 4 at an event. That's kind of hype. I don't know when the last time was that we were top 4. Yeah, honestly, during that second half on the attack side and we started losing rounds, it did feel like I didn't know what to do. None of my kind of original planning was working, and I wasn't really sure why. I'm always a bit rusty calling on that map, it feels like. So it was it was a weird match. I need to watch it back fully to actually understand what the hell was actually happening.
And very indicative that there's no presence. And Alpha, this position, does find one and a second. The Turkish superstar, the kid himself, and Durka in unison.
And our next opponent is Na'Vi. Now that's going to be a bit of a revenge grudge match there, especially who's going to take the crown for EMEA finals and hopefully take that trophy as well. Yeah, and then obviously he's a great IGL, you know, he did it in CSGO and he's come to Valorant and he's still at the top of his game. Like, he's made a team that is one of the top teams in EMEA. That's a feat that can't be going unnoticed, you know? So you got to put respect when respect is due. However, when we're on a server, only disrespect. So I'm not really scared of them. We've actually upgraded our roster and I want to beat them. So like, they know that we're coming for them. So it's just about how they're going to prepare for us as well. Last time we played them and we lost, Sugetsu did this to me and then waved me goodbye. So I'm not going to do it back. However, that is imprinted in my brain, and I'm Michael Jordan, and it's like, what's that word where he says, I will remember. I took that personally. I did take that personally. So, Sugetsu, there'll be no crying tears, only for you tonight, baby.
How can you not love that man? Now, here's the deal. I was hoping that 2-minute break would let these analysts stew and maybe sway them into the Fnatic camp.
I'm glad we watched that.
But then when Boaster opens up by going, I didn't know what to do. All of a sudden, I'm starting to walk things back.
And the thing is as well, we're talking about Angel, which early on, Boaster, that was who he idolized. He wanted to become or have that status as the IGL, and Angel was who he assimilated that to.
Yeah, you heard it there. Massive respect between the two shot callers. Of course, he did say only disrespect within the server.
He did say that, but I don't know if he's going to get the opportunity to disrespect them, because what he said there, what you talked about, that really scares me, because that's been the issue in the past, where Fnatic gets to late stage of the tournament, they've run out of ideas, they start making solo plays, whereas Na'Vi, I've never really seen them have that same issue where they do run into that brick wall.
The one thing I will say, he calls out the Sugetsu thing. If anything, I just want to see Fnatic's winning moment, right? Because they always come out with some really great celebrations.
But imagine if they do lose this series and then Sugetsu just gets to re-imprint that into his brain a second
double
time.
imprinted.
The second set of B-roll.
All right, get those whiteboards up. Get those whiteboards up.
We're running out of time. We got to get some predictions in. So after all of this discussion, Mimi's wasting no time. She's throwing her weight behind Na'Vi.
I clearly put a lot of effort into this drawing, but yeah, I think they're going to win this match.
In a dominant fashion, we go the full 5.
Sure.
What are you thinking?
I think that there will be at least a map taken here for Fnatic. I think this match should be close, but I think Navi's the favorite.
Okay, for me, it's the viewers. The viewers are going to win.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong.
But also Navi.
But also Navi.
Two cop-outs.
Double cop-out. High Pac, bring it home.
It's not a cop-out. I said Navi.
It's lucky because my drawing is all. Yeah, I'm sticking to my guns.
I'm actually kind of impressed.
Is me saying Fnatic can take a map of cop-out?
Started a little too high there.
Same question to you that I gave to Mimi, though. Do you think we go that can Fnatic take it to 5 and make it close, or?
I think we will see a long series. Yeah, I'm thinking minimum 3-1.
I'm 3-1 with you as well.
Minimum 3-1, 3-1, and
I'm also 3-1.
3-1. Well, look, I fought for 5 games yesterday. The team's delivered. I'm fighting for 5 again today, regardless of who comes out on top. So I hope they give it to us. We got one EMEA team heading to the grand finals tomorrow. Will it be Na'Vi or Fnatic? That's really the big question. We've broken down so many of the beautiful individual matchups. We got Boaster, we got Angel, we got CNED, and we've Durka, thank you very much. I just lost my brain for a moment. Let's find out, though, if we can get that full 5 games as we get this best of 5 started. Day 14 of Lock-In starts right now.
Santos arkadaşlar. Zona muda. Zona muda.
It's an EMEA battle for the ages, a grudge match through and through. Fnatic on one side, Na'Vi on the other. Only one gets to make the trip to the finals tomorrow to challenge Loud for that international title. My big question, though, is what's Boaster cooking up?
It better be something, because I think they have their work cut out for him here. Obviously, everybody here on the desk feeling like Na'Vi have the upper hand. Boaster himself saying, like, I didn't know what to do in this previous series. He needs to have something cooked up here to deal with this team.
I counter that with this roster now being the super team. I don't think we're going to see Fnatic pulling out quirky comps or anything like that. I think they're just going to stick to their guns.
With what we've seen demonstrated previously here in Brazil.
I think the initial game plan has to be good, but where this matchup is going to be important when it gets to the late round, when it gets the adaptation, because in the past, that's where Boaster's calling has struggled against Angel.
We're diving into the map select. I always have curiosities when neither team has yet to drop a map in this series, when neither team has really been pushed that far. How do you approach, especially as you elevate from 3 to best of 5, Hypoc?
Oh, well, actually, just to quickly divert off away from this, Na'Vi's permaban being Haven, but they're taking Icebox off the cards here for Fnatic, so maybe not liking what they've seen so far, and actually Fnatic going to open up with Haven.
No surprise, Ben. They pick that Haven if you're going to leave it open.
Last year, when we saw this matchup, every time Na'Vi would want to ego chow this Icebox, not ban it, go into that matchup. The one time they did beat Fnatic, though, they banned that map away. Haven as a start is a strong one for Fnatic, but Na'Vi also will feel fairly comfortable on that map. They do get the Lotus out, though, which we haven't seen from Fnatic this yet.
About to say, I'm a happy man. We get some Lotus play today.
I mean, Fnatic, they have had some good compositions, some good strategies when new maps come out. I'm thinking back all the way to Champs 2021 when they had that fracture. They absolutely smashed DRX on that map, and now we will get to see them selected as well.
Yeah, so another comfort pick for Fnatic there in Fracture. Those are the 3 maps that we're guaranteed to see. Haven, Lotus, Fracture. Split will be the response, though, if we manage to go to 4.
I am interested to see Split being picked early. I was expecting that one to be really loaded deep into Veto. Sense still open, but for Na'Vi, that is normally a map that they love picking into early in series.
Well, yesterday, Ascent was our decider. It will be that again.